And there is no single vaccine. I repeat, there is no one. Anyone who disagrees with what I just say, post a fucking peer-reviewed article that says, that shows any vaccine having an effect that did not emerge until many months later or years later. I dare any one of you to do this.
When the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part.
The Greyzone is an online journalistic outfit that prides itself on its investigative journalism on Empire. But the best way to describe it, really, is a quote from Ken Silverstein, who described it as a band of dimwits who have one principle, though that's probably not the right word. If the US is for it, we're against it. If the US is against it, we're for it. And that is, in a nutshell, the essence of the Greyzone's journalism. I don't want to get into detail about the Greyzone itself, since that's not the point of this video. I just want to point out the kind of journalism that it does. And an example here is its coverage of Belarus. And the only article really that deals with Belarusian politics is this article that basically links that activist whose plane was brought down by the Belarusian government so that he could be arrested, Roman Protasevich, who apparently had a stint fighting with a far-right militia in Ukraine. A far-right militia, I should add, that was fighting Russian-backed separatists who wanted to break up the country. So, no mention whatsoever of Russian-backed separatists or all the things they've done, like, shoot down Malaysian Airlines planes. No mention of that. No mention, again, of all the other crimes committed by the Belarusian government against its people. Of course not, since they are allies of Putin. They will never, ever be criticized by the Greyzone. Anyway, two of the Greyzone's most important figures are Max Blumenthal and Aaron Maté. Now, I've done a couple of videos on Max Blumenthal so that you know what kind of quality journalism this person engages in. But now it seems he's gone full-on anti-vaxxer without admitting that he's anti-vaxxer. Now, let's just be clear. You can be anti-vaxxer without openly saying that you're anti-vaxxer. It's kind of the same thing as you can be racist without putting a KKK robe on. All right, that's not the requirement. And if you're smart enough, you will know how to do this subtly without actually revealing, because you obviously don't want the critical fallout from openly saying that you're against the vaccine. So rather than being anti-vax, you're vaccine skeptic. You promote news or stories that suggest that the vaccine might be unsafe, that there might be other treatments, I don't know, like ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine, all these other things that people are thinking are acceptable substitutes for vaccines. That's the kind of conversation you engage with. And that's kind of the conversation that Max Blumenthal has been engaging with on Twitter in the last couple of days. So let's see some of these tweets and see how he's kind of gone off the deep end. Now, he retweets, first, the latest one is he retweets this, which is from Professor Francois Balloux. Follow the science, how it started. There's a Lancet study that there's no evidence for lasting protective immunity of SARS-CoV-2 following natural infection. And then a much more recent Science article that having SARS-CoV-2 once confers much greater immunity than a vaccine, but no infection parties, please. Now, why is Max Blumenthal quoting this? Well, for a simple reason. He wants you to doubt science. He wants you to think, oh, see, nothing that any scientist ever says is definitive. So until we have definitive evidence, whenever that might come, probably never, because let's be honest, in terms of medical science, we don't have definitive answers to anything. What we think is helpful for a disease may prove to be less effective than another thing in years to come when different studies. So we don't know. We have to operate on what we know at the moment. And at the moment, let's look back at when this study was published, October 31st. That's when it was published. And I'm not sure. I haven't checked this one out, but often when articles are published in medical journals, the study was done way or like months earlier. So this could easily have been data from the very beginning of the pandemic when we had very little information of how long immunity would last. Now we have more data. Now we've had recurrent waves. And we can basically, with this new data, make an affirmation that contradicts the previous one when we had less information. This is not evidence that science got it wrong. This is evidence of science doing its job and updating itself when there is more accurate information. Of course, that's not what Blumenthal is trying to do here. Because if he did, he would probably have made some commentary on like, look, this should not be an excuse to not vaccinate yourself, right? Which this article is very open about what it doesn't want you to do. No infection parties, please. But yeah, now he seems to like this guy quite a lot. And let's see what else he has tweeted. So this tweet came from a couple of days ago. So he wrote, bombshell preprint study of 76,000 COVID subjects demonstrated the natural immunity confers longer lasting and stronger protection against infection, symptomatic disease, and hospitalization caused by Delta variant than being double vaccinated. Great. Now, again, what is the point of sharing this? The majority of his dipshit followers will see this as proof that vaccines don't work. Might as well just let nature run its course, and I'll protect myself with non-vaccines treatments like, I don't know, ivermectin. Because clearly I know the exact dosages of a horse dewormer that would be applicable for a human being, right? Here's the proof that he's anti-vax. And like I said, anti-vax doesn't mean that you will openly say that you are against the vaccines. Anti-vax is your attitude towards them. And someone replies, get vaccinated even if you've had COVID. That's the best protection. It is. Because the studies have shown that if you've had natural immunity from COVID and you've had the vaccine, you have even greater protection. So it's good to have it regardless. If you could share some studies that confirm your statement, I'd appreciate it. So did he reinforce this point? If he wasn't an anti-vaxxer, he would have reinforced this point. He would have said, yeah, get vaccinated. But no, he's doubting it. And the funny thing, I mean, this is just brilliant. The funny thing is, in the same article, it actually says individuals who were both previously infected with SARS-CoV-2 and given a single dose of the vaccine gained additional protection against the Delta variant. So, yeah, I mean, there's just no way around this. No way around this. And yeah, I mean, this is not surprising. That he has this attitude towards vaccines because he is fundamentally the kind of person who is just anti-establishment for the sake of being anti-establishment. And since science is establishment, since the liberal media quotes the science, then it must be bad. Everything the liberal media quotes must be bad. And he creates an environment, like an intellectual environment, where people just are incapable of nuance. Like, I see the average Black Blumenthal or Greyzone or Jimmy Dore fan, because they're all in the same orbit. They're just absolutely incapable of realizing that, yes, big pharma exists. Yes, big pharma lobbies government. But guess what? Science says you should still take the fucking vaccine, even though it's been made or sold by big pharma, because it's a friggin' pandemic. And the benefits of taking it far outweigh the risks of not taking it. And every single anti-vax sentiment on the left that I see has this anti-establishment attitude behind it. It's very different from the anti-vax mentality of that you see among the right. The right takes a very libertarian approach. The reason that they're anti-vax is because they don't want government determining what to do or not to do with your bodies and your life. Sha-da-da. Ironically, not a position that they take on abortion, but anyway. That is mostly the kind of arguments you see from the anti-vax community. And this is mostly, like I said, from the right, from libertarians, who are also right. Let's not kid ourselves. And this has preceded COVID. This was the logic of the anti-vax movement well before COVID. But then this left-wing strand of anti-vax sentiment that has arisen during the pandemic, every single person that I see on Twitter who is a follower of these dipshits has this attitude of like, no, I just can't trust big pharma. I just can't trust government. Right? It's not opposition to government. It's distrust of government. It's a different mentality than anti-vax from the right. And people like Max Blumenthal, when your entire worldview revolves around this kind of journalism, this kind of, you can't trust anything. You can't trust the system. You can't trust government. You can't trust the media. You can't trust the establishment. The only people you can trust is a bunch of fucking dipshits on Twitter. You end up with people believing this. So I am not surprised at all. And please watch if you doubt anything I'm saying about Max Blumenthal, watch my videos on him. Like, I point out where he factually lies to you. So he's not an honest journalist. He's not a journalist. Okay? He's not a journalist. He's a propagandist. Anyway, now let's move on to another character in the Greyzone universe, which is Aaron Maté. Now, to his credit, and I will always emphasize this, I have no problems giving people credit, even people that I thoroughly dislike, credit when they say something that is true, or when they say something that is helpful. So credit to Aaron Maté, because he posted this: to get antibodies, you have to survive COVID first. The jab helps you survive. Moreover, the Israeli study concludes that, so that's the same study, by the way, that he's referring to. The Israeli study concludes that individuals who were both previously infected with SARS-CoV-2 and given a single dose, so he's quoting the exact same rebuttal that one of the people gave to Max Blumenthal. So kudos to him for basically challenging his boss on this issue. But he's right, and he's replying to a comment that says natural immunity is more diverse and long lasting, which is, again, not true. This is the Science magazine article that Max Blumenthal, sorry, not Max Blumenthal, the guy that Max Blumenthal retweeted. That's the same article, and it's clear about it. Like, no infection parties, please, because it comes with a fucking risk. I mean, why would I take the risk of infecting myself with COVID just to have a slight advantage in protection? Because it's not like a huge amount of added protection that it gives you. To be honest, you only need enough. So, it doesn't matter if your antibody count is twice as big, as long as it protects you anyway. Who cares? Anyway. But here's the funny thing. Let's look at some of the comments. I thought your angle has been to take the position of challenging power and MSN, mainstream news, I guess, narratives. In this case, that would be big pharma. You're just saying shit we can hear on MSNBC, CNN. Wow, hard-hitting journalism. Izzy Award. Let's know what's up with Dr. Teslaury, Dr. I have no idea who these people are. That is the mentality of someone whose brain has been rotted by reading this shit their entire life. Okay? That is the moment that you are absolutely pathologically, neurologically incapable of reasoning, basic reasoning, and critical thinking skills. Because I cannot imagine how you can live in a world where you distrust everything. You just can't. How do you do it? How do you manage? How do you do basic things when every single institution and organization around you claim is lying to you? That's insane. I just honestly, I cannot put myself in the shoes of someone who thinks this way. And seriously, these people are fucking lost unless they have some kind of epiphany down the line where they finally realize that all the trash they've been reading is that trash. I genuinely don't know how these people can like function with basic reasoning and critical thinking skills. I don't think they can gain them anymore. They're fucking lost. Dr. McCollum and others, you're just saying stuff we already hear 24/7 on a freaking loop from corporate media. Where's the investigative journalism in that? Yeah, we got it. We got it, you likey vax. More interesting to see other ways of helping with COVID working effectively without altering DNA. For fuck's sake. These vaccines do not alter your DNA. That's not what they do. Holy shit. Jesus, like, unbelievable that in the 21st century, with access to all this information, we have fucking idiots like this. Unbelievable. Yeah. Additional protection that wears off and might possibly cause long-term damage to your immune system's ability to naturally create antibodies. Therefore, it's not a vaccine, not yet. At best, a forever inoculation. Experiment on yourself, bro. Leave the rest of us alone. So there is no evidence, I repeat, there is no evidence of any vaccine ever made that causes long-term damage, like damage that emerges. That's what I mean by long-term damage, that emerges in the long run. Okay? There are vaccines that have caused long-term, as in some kind of long-term condition, like narcolepsy. I'm surprised they don't bring that up more often, because this would be sort of what they would think is a case in their favor. One particular type of vaccine for the 2009 swine flu ended up causing a much higher rate of narcolepsy, particularly against children. Now, all of these cases emerged in like a month or two after taking the vaccine, because that's when the vaccine takes effect on you. That's when any kind of damage that a vaccine causes on you will occur in the first couple of days or weeks, and no more than 1 or 2 months later. By that time, your system has gotten rid of the vaccine. All that is left is the memory of the vaccine on your immune system. And there is no single vaccine. I repeat, there is no one. Anyone who disagrees with what I just say, post a fucking peer-reviewed article that shows any vaccine having an effect that did not emerge until many months later or years later. I dare any one of you to do this. Yeah. So, most people survive COVID. Me, my wife, and 3 kids just did a couple of weeks ago. So have my in-laws and their kids, my co-workers, etc. You have to survive COVID first. Sounds as daunting as you have to survive a flu first. It's really not a feat. That's great. Please tell that to the... how many people have died in the US already? Is it like 600,000, 700,000? Yeah, tell all of them that it's just the flu. By the way, I did a video as well that during the last flu season, COVID killed 544 times more people. That's how much more deadly it is than the flu. 544 times. Anyway, you are letting fear of a natural phenomenon control you, Aaron. You need to start listening to the free-thinking, scientific... Yeah, the people who are fucking self-dosing horse dewormers. That's the free-thinking scientific community. Do these dipshits even know, like, what you have to go through to get something published? You know, the peer review process, all of this, the type of studies that are done. I explained it a bit in a previous video as well. In the Jimmy Dore video that I did a couple of days ago. And oh, I should add before I forget, because I did forget when I was mentioning this. The article that there's an article that Israel study is not peer reviewed. That doesn't mean that it will be at some point. You know, I also explained this during a pandemic. It is good that we get as many papers published as quickly as possible so that people are aware of what may or may not work. So it's good that these are published. Just because it's not peer reviewed, it does not mean it's trash. But that doesn't mean what it does mean is that the science is still not settled. And that is an important thing to start making definitive claims like Max Blumenthal is making on a study that has not been peer reviewed. Yeah. So I have a lot of respect for you and the work you do. I have learned a lot from you, but I disagree with you on this. The worldwide obsession with vaccinating young and healthy people is doing more harm than good. Yeah, what harm? What harm? Take the jab. I have no problem with it, but I have a huge problem when you are trying to impose that jab on me. And that's when you are trying to do here. That's wrong. What's up with you and vaxing? Holy shit. Holy shit. Yeah. Anyway. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. But that is this should not surprise him. That is the audience that he has cultivated. That is his fan base. And that is what you get when this kind of journalism is what you promote. These kind of everyone is lying to you except us. The establishment is lying to you. Government is lying to you. Big Pharma is lying to you. Science is lying to you because it has ties to Big Pharma. When you're in that mindset, you're gone. You're absolutely fucking gone. And like I said, maybe some of these people will one day have an epiphany. Maybe one of their family members or friends will die from COVID, and they'll realize what fucking idiots they were. But until that happens, this is your brain on the kind of journalism or on the kind of online punditry, like the Greyzone, like Jimmy Dore, like everyone else in this anti-establishment ecosystem, that basically just want you to be anti-establishment for the sake of it. Because when we have to know, you cannot live your life distrusting absolutely everything. You have to use reason. You have to make value judgments. You have to weigh in evidence. And more importantly, you have to accept that sometimes the people who you hate might be right. And also recognize that people like Max Blumenthal lie to you. And yet you still trust them. On that note, thanks for watching this video. If you like it, please like, please share. Most importantly, please subscribe. Guarantee you, it'll make your life better than subscribing to the Greyzone. Anyway, have a good weekend.